In prestigious schools like St. Mary's College, there are houses named after great British heroes like Admiral Rodney and General Abercrombie, both of whom used military force to make British colonies safe for slavery and indentured servitude. Reading history as it is taught in secondary school textbooks, one might think that all Caribbean black people were slaves. One would never suspect that many of them were freedom fighters, warriors, and intellectuals whose efforts made slavery unprofitable and forced the British government to abolish the practice of owning other people. But now, the Iyanola Council for the Advancement of Ras Tafari is touring schools, teaching that history as a means to push back against criminal violence, drug abuse, and unhealthy living.
That could go a long way in terms of quelling some of the black-on-black, youth-on-youth violence that we see in our society today. So we are stressing on those topics as well, black-on-black violence, youth-on-youth violence, as part of African history. We're also stressing on the scourge of COPD, where a lot of our young people are getting into smoking and they're poisoning their lungs and so on. So we'll be addressing some aspects of COPD as well and trying to discourage our children from a life of smoking.
Rastafari has always placed strong emphasis on teaching history to strengthen other aspects of self-esteem, identity, and character, but they haven't always had an easy time of it. The Philip J. Pierre administration, however, seems to have lit a spark that has renewed the fires of enthusiasm for teaching African history to the children of those who fought colonialism.
From the inception, when this current administration came into office, on the Prime Minister's very first emancipation address, he mentioned that, and he said that he would like to see more African history in schools. So there's definitely a need for that, and we as Icar, we are answering that call with the little resources that we have, because we have to move around, we have to put presentations together, we have to ensure that we print different documents when we go to the school so we could make proper presentations. So with the little resources that we have, we will be using it to ensure that we perpetuate that kind of African history within the school system. We definitely need it, and we applaud the Prime Minister for his vision to give us the support so far.
As for Saint Lucian children, every single one of them knows about King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella, but very few know anything about the Battle of Adwa, the West African empires that rose during the Middle Ages, or the journey of Mansa Musa, who to this day is considered the richest man who ever lived.
I learned that Egypt wasn't originally called Egypt. I didn't really know that. And I learned about the different, African kings and all their history, their background, how they all came about, and how, the writing, the mathematics. I don't know that they had all of them things, before. I thought it was more simpler than that, but apparently they had more to learn about. And I recently learned about that today, which is good, because it's important that, children in this generation know more about the African culture.
Even students who are attracted to history are not served important information that connects them to their ancestors.
So far, I find it very interesting. As a history student, I feel like I'm learning a lot so far that I can put into my work later on when I have class. And I just love history in general. So I find this to be a great opportunity for me to just learn a lot more than I already have learned so far.
Some think African history is irrelevant in the age of artificial intelligence. What matters, they say, is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. But Americans teach American history, and the British teach British history for the positive effects it has on self-esteem. If St. Lucian young men, for example, can learn that their ancestors were not slaves, but freedom fighters who organized themselves into cooperative communities and armies to fight slavery, is it possible that African history can redirect the violent energies of those young men who perpetuate criminal violence? No one can deny that it is at least worth a try.
We want to go through the entire length and breadth of Saint Lucia. So we're looking at every secondary school. We are here at the Corim Secondary School. We have done the Clendon Mason. So we're looking forward to engaging other secondary school principals and so on to see if they are willing to accept such discussions in the schools. And we're also saying that if there are history teachers, social studies teachers who would like to engage us to come to their schools, they could also call us at 723-9763. That's 723-9763, because we know that we have a responsibility.
For Choice News Now, I'm Jason Seafley.